It's time for Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Stay tuned for conversation and information from her special guest. Now sit back and relax and enjoy Real Talk with Cindy Barber.
Us. So we lift our hands in the sanctuary and we give you glory and honor and praise. Sanctuary, we lift our hands to give you the glory. We lift our hands to give you the praise. Good evening, and welcome to Real Talk with Cindy. Glad to have you. Those that will be watching on my YouTube channel, Cindy Barber TV, welcome. Please subscribe to my channel, Cindy Barber TV. Glad to have you. As you're coming on, please let me know city, state, or country where you are joining us from. My guest is here, and I'm excited to have him with us on tonight. So please share, tag, and let others know that we are on. We are on. Cindy Barber is on, along with my very special guest. If you would like to be a blessing, a financial blessing to Real Talk with Cindy, please use my Cash App, which is $Cindy's Keys, $Cindy's Keys. And many of you have been a blessing, and I want to say thank you so much for blessing Real Talk with Cindy. Also, if you would like to advertise your event or business here on this platform, please DM me or send an email to ms.cindybarber@gmail.com. Hope you all have had an amazing weekend for Father's Day. Please tag and share and give us some hearts and follow us. Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Please let me know city and state you're joining us from. Good to see you, my friend. Jarvis Taylor from Tupelo, Mississippi. Thank you so much for joining. As you're coming on, please let me know the city, state, or country where you're joining me from on tonight. So excited to have our guest on. He has so much to share. I don't want to hold him. I want everyone to get all this information that he's going to share with us on tonight. So please tag and share and let him know that we're here, that we're on. Okay, I'm not going to prolong. I'm going to bring my guest right on. Hello, Sam. How are you tonight?
Just fine. How are you doing, Reverend Barber?
I'm doing good.
Make sure that I address you correctly.
It's okay. Cindy, it's fine. It really is. But I'm so excited to have you with me on tonight. And I know you are a tech person. And I want you to share your beginnings of when you began as far as your, because I know you are a musician as well, and we're going to get into that. So begin to share your journey, how you got started with playing, and what age were you when you began to play?
Well, there is a old saying that the chip doesn't fall. That is, the chip doesn't fall far from the tree. If I got it correctly, I
Mhm.
probably have it wrong. But my
Uh-huh.
father was also a church musician. His
Okay.
brother, a church musician. My
Mm-hmm.
grandfather was a pastor and had churches. Um, my father and his
Mm-hmm.
brother would always be in competition with each other for having children. So my father had eight,
Mm-hmm.
my uncle had seven. All of us are involved in music as church musicians from the East
Mm-hmm.
Coast area. You'll hear the name Tolbert spoken of in so
Mm-hmm.
many different churches. But
Right.
one thing that you will find out is that we're all different in how we play. We may have started together, but we all branched off and became
Right.
our own entity as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So my first introduction was really as a youngster, maybe 8 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
to listen to my father play. Then I would hear my brother play, but neither one of them
Uh-huh.
had to show me how to play.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just go
Wow.
and back on the piano till I was told to actually get off. It wasn't until the New York school system invited me to learn how to play the flutophone or the recorder back then, where they
Uh-huh.
began to teach me how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb and Hot Cross Buns,
Mm-hmm.
and put sheet music in my hand for the first time, and then I began
Right.
to grasp what notes and melodies sounded like. So I would go to
Mm-hmm.
the piano with those pieces of paper and that flute, and I blow on it to hear the note, and then go to the
To hear the
piano to
note.
try and
Yeah.
find it. That helped me
Right.
with my ear training because I've never
Mm-hmm.
had music training other than as an
Mm-hmm.
actual instrumentalist. But I could
Mm-hmm.
retain whatever I heard, go to the piano, find those notes to the best of my
Mm-hmm.
ability back then, and try to
Mm-hmm.
replicate that sound.
Right.
So
Okay.
as the years went on and I moved into the different areas of the New York City school system, I learned how to play trombone, French horn, which they actually gave me the French horn when I graduated junior high school. I often pull it up on my
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel because I still have
Mm-hmm.
it with the New York City Board of Ed seal on it. Even I wondered, am I
Right.
stealing it? They said, no, that's for you. I guess because I
Yeah.
gave such an impression about as a French horn player. Went to
Mm-hmm.
high school, and the teacher there, Mr. Alexander Altieri, was an
Mm-hmm.
actual musician teaching music, which was the greatest thing I could have ever had because he
Mm-hmm.
wrote music. That's how I got my
Mm-hmm.
affinity to write music also. And
Right.
I learned the big band sound, the classical sound,
Mm-hmm.
the marching
Wow.
band sound. All those types
Mm-hmm.
of styles of music was introduced to me as an instrumentalist. But I'd run home
Mm-hmm.
to the piano and try to mimic the practice
That's
sessions, the
it.
chords I would hear,
Mm-hmm.
until when my opportunity
Wow.
came. Well, I should back up a little bit. My father, also
Mm-hmm.
being a church musician, he had his own his own TV repair business, and
Okay.
one of the things he did repair was Hammond organs. So he was a certified
Really?
Hammond organ
Ooh.
technician. Hammond would call him to send them to the
Mm-hmm.
churches that got organs to put them straight after they would break. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned how to fix organs and practiced on them as my father was fixing it. And we had our Hammond C3 in the
Mm-hmm.
house. So
Right.
that's where my affection for the Hammond organ came from. I was
Mm-hmm.
practicing drawbars, foot pedals, playing both manuals, replicating again what I learned from hearing on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
So when my opportunity came in 1973 to serve at the Kelly Temple Church of God in Christ it was in April, and it was a second Sunday. When I was
Right.
in the service as a youngster, 16 years old, no one wanted to play the piano. Everybody was playing the organ. So I made a request. Can I play the piano? Now they had
Mm-hmm.
not seen me for about 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Church things, big things happen, families get pulled out. But I was
Mm-hmm.
in preparation all those years, hearing songs and learning them. So when I sat down to a Steinway 6 foot grand, I love that piano. So I
Mm-hmm.
still love it today.
Yes.
Um, they were amazed that I could pick up any song that they were singing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was allowed, I'll say allowed, to come back that following Sunday and play. And then, of course, when you're a teenager, you always want to be a part of the young people group that's there. And when they had a young people's teenage choir, even though they had a musician who was an excellent musician at that time, they gave me the opportunity to stay playing. And that's probably what 46 consecutive years up until the time that some folks will say, well, the Lord said retire. No, I asked the Lord, can I retire? Because I was one of those that would prepare for 3 months at a time what's coming up and listening to music constantly. In fact, even that, I can still look at some drawers I have here in my basement of cassette tapes of so many songs that was given to me. Hey, learn this song for rehearsal, then this choir, learn these 3 songs for rehearsal, then this choir, learn these 2 songs, to where I said, when do I have a life?
Yeah.
So I'm retired now, so I can have a life.
So you can have a life. And
But I stay on the internet, on YouTube, primarily helping find musicians like me anywhere in the world, in this case in the United States, but around the world, that won't have to go through the time lost in not having information in front of them of how a gospel song should sound from the era in which it came up in, and then how you can use that same sound for the type of songs that are being played today. I know that's a lot, but there's so much in there that, I played for children's choirs, teenage choirs, male choruses, women's choir, youth choirs, mass choirs. So that, and learning everything to sound like the album, because that's been my nature. I want to sound like I was on the actual recording.
Wow. That's amazing, because most people don't take that kind of time to do that. That's really good. Now, since 1975, you have written and arranged, composed gospel songs. So let's talk about that. And how many songs have you arranged, and how many have you composed? And that's in traditional and innovation.
I thought that question might come up, so I will make sure I had my list in front of me, because I started to chart them on an old piece of paper. But this, if you can see that, that's the, should I back this up a little bit? That's the list.
Wow.
Let me see if I can, if it'll, there we go. This is an old list, but that's what I would do.
Wow.
It says Composer Sam, the key is in, the title, and what genre it actually fitted in.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a lot. That's great.
And even I would make sure that I put the copyright on there, because what I, as a instrumentalist, we learned so many different songs. When I got into the church and they would sing the same song the same way for the last 50 years, I said, why don't they play it like this? Why does it always have to sound like that? So I would take a hymn, not jazz it up as they do it today, but I would add elements of the big band sound to sort of put it as an interlude between each verse, to sort of liven up the music so that your congregation doesn't just sit there with hymnals. Back in my day, they had hymnals, but give them a reason to put that hymnal down on the chorus and repeat the chorus, and then begin to clap their hands and stomp their feet to an actual rhythmic sound of music. And I did that from the piano. It was when you see a lot of my videos that I do for instruction, I generally have an actual piano sound set up, because I always felt that you need to learn how a piano can sound before you go to the organ, because the whole touch thing changes. But there were days when there was no organ. Churches only had
pianos. And a lot of them today still have the same thing, where they just have pianos. They don't have organ.
And this list is only from 1995. There's songs I have written that did not make this list, which let me see. As I said, I kind of thought this question might come up. Again, being one that was taught by an actual instrumentalist, these are all of the letters of the copyrights of songs that I've written.
Oh, wow.
All the songs that I've written that are copyrighted. So, because my intent was to be able to share this music with everyone in a local church standpoint. I realized there are a lot of artists out there that have gone national. I wasn't looking for that. I said the most work is done local. And if
That's
we
true.
could build the local groups to the point where they're doing the album quality on the local church, that opens opportunities for them when they do go outside of the local church.
Exactly. Exactly. That's so true. So now
And
let's talk about now you are into creating sheet music, MIDI files, and audio compositions through technology.
mhm.
So let's begin to talk about that and how you have explored the power of AI vocals. So explain what that means, the AI vocals.
Well, if we take a step back to the actual MIDI file era, this is the AOL dial-up time when you had a 300 baud connection coming from your house phone to
Yeah,
be able to go to the opening or the beginning of the internet, the AOL
right.
AOL days. I knew there were churches out there that did not have a functioning musician, one that
Yeah.
they could count on for Sunday morning
Hmm.
services. Because
Hmm.
I loved creating music, when I got my software to be able to do MIDI files, I began
Yes.
to flood the internet with
Hmm.
public domain. I make sure it was
Yeah.
public domain so I
Public
don't infringe
domain.
on anybody's
Hmm.
copyrights. But the
Hmm.
type of music that I would play and the way that I
Hmm.
would play it on a Sunday morning, they got organ, piano, light drum, and bass. And my
Hmm.
intent was so that there could be no service without music. Uh, Churches were
Hmm.
getting into the actual MIDI world where they could download a MIDI file, put it onto a device, and put it through their church sound system and have music for their service.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that got me a lot of notoriety on the internet back in the early days. I think God's
Right.
Gospel was the name of the site that was hosting a lot. I had my own site with AOL, but God's
Hmm.
Gospel would post a lot of sites, a lot of my music there. And it made
Hmm.
me feel good to know that I was assisting another
Hmm.
church that did not have well, I would say they were in between musicians. Because at that day,
Right.
during that time, musicians would always switch churches seemingly monthly.
Hmm.
And to leave a church
Hmm.
without music, I always felt was taboo. Why would you leave a church and then just leave them flat? So I made myself available to anyone. It was a free download. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how many of them, how many thousands of downloads they were done, but I heard a few sites were using my music on their webpage for their church. And I says, good,
Oh,
this
really?
it is getting an opportunity to go out there and help a church
Yeah.
in between musicians. And I always say in between because the other side of that was, now that you hear that I've helped you, help me by letting me train your musicians, and we'll work
Hmm.
out what it's going to cost, but let's see what we can give them for free to get them up to speed, because I knew they
Hmm.
weren't going to stay with their local church. So I
Right.
often would say,
Exactly.
train 3 at a time, knowing that one is leaving, one might get married, or one might get a job, but the same training those 3 got, train the next 3. That
Yeah.
was the actual concept I had. Um,
Hmm.
Fast forward, of course, we went the MIDI turned around, and everybody now wants live sounding music. So I do MP3 and WAV
Yeah.
files. But
Right.
the AI vocals, again, I'm trying to get away from that term because a lot of people are getting uncomfortable when they hear artificial
Hmm.
intelligence. It is the label that has been given to everything that's not being done by an actual human being. But a
Hmm.
human being created the software that runs it. Now they've trained the software to run
Hmm.
itself, basically. I
Yeah.
use it
Yeah.
as a tool. Some folks may
Hmm.
say, well, you want to replace singers. No, I'm not going to replace singers. But
Hmm.
how much music died in the mind of a young musician because his choir members weren't capable of giving him the sound he or she needed when a song came to them on a Sunday morning. I would sit on the
Yeah.
organ sometimes playing, and the pastor be preaching, and I said, oh, you know what? I play some chords, and in my head I would hear melody, but I had no
Hmm.
one to go to and take that melody to.
Yeah.
Every now and then in a
Hmm.
choir rehearsal, I would put something that you saw. I would wrote out so much stuff. I would say, well,
Yeah.
what if we tried it this way? And they go, oh, that's nice. Let's try that on Sunday. And then that was
Hmm.
it. After that, you didn't hear it no more. That's why I wrote all that out. Man, I
Hmm.
rewrote Christmas songs. I think I did Hark the
Hmm.
Herald Angels. I have 3 versions of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Each one is
Hmm.
different. I rewrote Down at the Cross. I put a nice tempo to it. Still kept the words. Again, that's the most important
Right.
to me. The lyrics
Hmm.
have to stay the same, but
Right.
update the approach to the song, because that now gives the singer the oomph to want to sit musically on top of the song and not just be, or when is the song going to be over?
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Hmm.
and there was so much music that, as I say, in my early days, has never been heard outside of the local church.
Hmm.
So now I've been waiting for this technology. I've been monitoring it for the past 5 years. I was, when are they going to make it where I can have my own singer? And
Hmm.
it's distressing when you have a song that you wrote and you can't sing. That's me. I hum a
Hmm.
little bit. I can
Right.
falsetto a note to help in teaching a song,
The teacher
but to
song.
actually hear the song and then
Yeah.
have it sung back to me the way I hear it, and then I can
Yeah.
hear the mistakes. No,
Right.
that note's held too long. Shorten that note. That key is too high. Lower the key. Now
Yep.
I have the ability to go back in time and look at those songs I did back then
Hmm.
musically and go, okay, now I have singers that are virtual. They are,
Hmm.
there are so many sites out there. And again, I've looked at all of them. I purposely search them every morning to see what's new out there.
Hmm.
The software I'm using was designed by an actual Japanese company who's only been in existence maybe 4 years now.
Oh yeah.
So they've done come a long way in just those 4 years, because their
Right.
software allows well, I gotta back up. Their software has actual human singers programmed into an AI uh, conversion. I can put it like that,
Really. Hmm.
where I can play a note on the keyboard, which is a MIDI note, and
Hmm.
then the software will say this MIDI note with this singer should sound like this.
Hmm.
So and then I type in the word or the lyric that I want for that. Now it'll sound like this if an actual singer sang it.
Saying it. Wow.
Now
Wow.
some might say, well, that doesn't mean, oh, it sounds like a robot. Well, it sounds like
Hmm.
a robot if you don't go into it and say a real singer would breathe and
Yeah.
sing, hold,
Hmm.
cut it short, and then
Hmm.
breathe again and sing the next note stronger, slower. The diction, that's the programming part that is done by me, an actual human. Only
Hmm.
because I have played for hundreds of singers, good and not
Hmm.
so good. Some I had to help with the melody, which is why I enjoy this software. I no longer have to play melody. I just play chords now to support a melody line being sung in my eyes correctly.
Hmm.
And then those songs which I've never been able to hear sung
Hmm.
by pure, now I'll say this, pure singing voices. There's no riffs, it doesn't sound like a gospel singer. They are
Wow. Yeah.
Japanese singers that sing American. Uh,
Right.
then they've brought in some singers, I think, from Europe, because again,
Hmm.
this is a Japanese company creating these
Hmm.
vocals, so they're going as close to the Western sound singer as
That's
they could,
yeah.
based, for their area in which they're actually bringing in people. But for what they've done, and I don't know
Hmm.
if we'd be able to share one of them that I did here live or not.
Yeah. Can you share something so they can hear what an AI what it sounds like?
It, I mean, I think I
If
was looking over my files to see how many have I created. I think I'm over 150 files of separate
really.
songs that I've created already. Because every day I'm creating something.
Hmm.
I'll give you a list of some of the songs that I've done. I've done "Available to You," "Behold That Star." I've done "Bless the Lord." Well, that's my version of "Bless the Lord." "Blessed Assurance."
Hmm.
Let's see, the Kojic "Yes Lord."
Hmm.
Uh, "Down Through the Years." That's my male chorus version. Let's
Hmm.
see, Emmanuel, the doxology. "Father, I stretch my hand to thee." I've done Timothy writes "For the Rest of My Life." For
Hmm.
let's see, "Get Right with God." Oh, "Get Right with God" was a real fun one. I wanted a testimony style song, and I said, "Can these
Hmm.
guys sing testimony service?" I got happy playing behind it.
Right.
"Give me a clean heart, give thanks, God has smiled on me." And this is just in the G's. God is good news. Have you tried Jesus? He is exalted. He's so real in my soul today. I mean, I'm just looking down the list. "Hold to his hand, holy, holy, holy." I've done "Total
Right.
Praise." I've decided
Hmm.
to make Jesus. "I go to the rock." "I love the Lord." "I need thee." "I shall wear a crown." Timothy, Thomas Whitfield's version of "I shall wear a crown" with the exact notes that's in his album. Because I stood there and I listened. This is what the choir is singing. The one
Right.
feature that I like about this, if someone were to say, well, Mr. Talbot, I need a song that I can't hear the notes to, I can hear the notes, create the alto,
Right.
soprano, tenor, and the baritone and bass if I have to, and
Hmm.
email them individual parts of how the song sounds on
Right.
the album.
I need
I
you to do one song so that they can understand and hear what you're talking about. So a lot of times people, they hear what you're saying, but they don't really quite understand it. So they need to find a song, even if it's yes or whatever song, because you have so many.
well,
Find a song.
we're in Black History Music Month, so why not lift every voice and sing?
Okay.
Which I did exactly the way it is written in the African American Heritage Hymnal, because I can read sheet music. I can sight read.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now let's see. I got it up. Let me see if I can map the sound, because I got to map the sound to.
Mm-hmm. And that way they get to hear.
And I did 4-part harmony.
Okay.
Let me see if you can hear it. Let me put on my headphones so I can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if it comes across. Could you hear that?
No.
No. Okay. So
Uh-uh.
it's not mapping there. Um. Okay. I know what I got to do. I'm going to map it to another program so that it should allow me to bring it in. Okay. What I got to do? I want to bring it up.
We don't hear it yet.
Application capture. Oh, I knew I should have set this up when I was getting prepared. I said, all right, let me do this. Oh, there we go. That's what I should have had. Okay, there it is. I'm just sending it through another program that should allow it to come over to this sound.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go here. Again, I'm a technician when it comes to doing sound recapture.
Yeah, the key. So he's trying to link it now so that everyone will be able to hear what it sounds like. Thank you for that question.
Let's see if this comes across now.
I hear a little bit.
Can you hear now?
It was only just a little bit.
Oh, but you did hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I got it right then. All right, I'm gonna let it play. Now I'm gonna play with it too.
Okay.
Can you hear that on the piano?
No.
Oh, why isn't anything? Oh, it's streamed. Okay, so I won't play with it then. I'll just let it play. Here we go. Lift every voice and sing. This is all AI.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, let me do this. Let me see if I can let you see the software. I'm just going to change my. Can I change my camera? Yes, I can. Oh, no, I can't. Camera. Yes, I can. Okay. That's the software. I think you can see that.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. That's the software.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Lift Every Voice and Sing.
You have to turn it up. Sam, we don't hear it.
Hear it?
No,
You don't hear it?
no.
Oh, gee.
Wait, there it is. I just heard it.
It's playing right now?
No,
Okay.
here it is.
Let me stop it then. Let me see if I can remap the sound where the sound is coming from.
So I just heard a little bit of it.
Camera, audio. Let's see, audio. Let's send the audio through. Let's send the audio through.
Thank you all for watching, and please share and let others know that we're on. But thank you for watching. I see many of you that have come on to watch, and thank you for subscribing to Cindy Barber TV. I appreciate it. We still don't hear anything, Sam.
Lift every voice.
Yeah, we hear it now. We hear it now.
Till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Okay. So now, Sam, that was, you put that together, correct?
Sorry, I had to remap my mic back to.
Oh, okay. It's okay. So you put the vocals together?
Yes.
Okay. So now tell us, what are the benefits of AI? Of the vocals, what would be the benefits?
Want to make sure I came back.
Okay, yep,
Okay.
you're there.
All
What's
right.
the benefits of AI vocals in music production in your thoughts?
There's a songwriter in every musician. Anytime you learn a song from somebody else, you've imparted in yourself a piece of that person, and that person and that part of that person resides in you, so that whenever you play that song, you are now emulating the vocals heard and the music heard. After a while, there's enough residue left in you to say, well, what if I wrote this song? And then you begin to experiment. Again, at home in your own practice time, you'll hear someone, or you hear a preacher make a comment about a sermon, and you go, gee, that sermon would sound nice with these words. And then you begin to experiment. 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 And then you but in your mind you're going, but what melody would I want to put with that? The musician who wants to go beyond playing everybody's song but can't sing like I was would benefit 100-fold. And I say 100-fold is because they no longer have to ask for someone to come and, hey, let me test these words and this melody out on you. Here are the
Yeah.
chords and here's the melody. If they can't sing the melody, they're frustrating that singer, because that a singer
Mhm.
wants to sing. But when you have someone uh, that has a life also, you might say, and now
Mhm.
you write a song that in you want to be able to share it with your local ministry, which is what I'm really shooting for, because there are a lot of workshops that people go to. 'Cause I've been to those workshops and I've participated in some of
Mhm.
those workshops where people present a song and I see their struggle. If they can't do the presentation correct, someone has to come and help them. That's a struggle.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
if you're in your local church, that's where your work is really done there. That's where you're testing the early songwriting. But then you're limited by who's in front of you at a choir rehearsal.
Mhm.
Your best singer
Mhm.
may not show up. Your
Right.
tenors might not be able to reach that note that you hear in your head would fit real nice with this song. But the minute you
Mhm.
try to emulate or give it to them, they're struggling and coughing over it. You go, oh, okay. Then you got to
Mhm.
change the key. Now you've it's like a person given a pencil and asked to draw a picture of a building. Once you start
Mhm.
drawing the lines and with a window and the door, you go, oh, that looks nice, and you just go on your way until you run across an artist that can actually
Mhm.
draw a person with a pencil that looks exactly like them down to the details. This is what
Mhm.
AI gives gives to the musician who has the composing spirit that says, I want to write a song, a new praise song.
Mhm.
I'm tired of singing every praise. I
Right.
want something that has that same tempo, but it's not that.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
I want to do my own song that when the altar call is being called, it's not always these three songs.
Mhm.
That was the type of musician I was. I was like, okay, we're going to play the song again. All right, every Sunday we're going to do Come Unto Jesus While You Have Time. I'm like, well, gee, what if I wrote a song that was not that song?
Mhm.
In my case, at my home church, the choir directors would sometimes say, I don't know what song to give the choir because all these songs I'm getting from these albums, they can't sing. I said, well,
Mhm.
why don't we write something? Well, I don't know how to write something. Okay, here's the song I was thinking about doing. Let's teach this. And we spend 2 or 3 weeks trying to get the correct key, the song down, and then we would present it on that Sunday morning. If it went over well, we might use it some other time during the month. If it didn't go over well, it was like, oh,
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
didn't sound right. Well, but if my altos can't sing soprano and the sopranos always want to sing the tenor's part, that's an issue.
Yeah.
With this type of software, which is a tool, there's no song that I can't think of and write and do all the music around it in less than 3 hours.
Mhm. Okay. So now, can any person use AI and create vocals like that? Does it have to be a keyboard player? Can any person do it?
The software is designed for the person who's musically inclined.
Yeah.
That's a big thing with it. You have to
Mhm.
know what notes sound like.
Yeah.
I mean, do you need a college degree in order to use this software? No, it's very intuitive. It actually walks
Mhm.
you through when you make a mistake. It'll tell you this is not correct. Like if you got
Mhm.
too many notes piled on top, you'll get a prompt. Stretch out your notes.
Mhm.
Give it a put a this is the syntax is not correct because the software it's actually learning you. I've done some work on it, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't tell it to do that, but it has learned how I create my notes to auto correct for me. So
Okay.
it's
Mhm.
it's when you have the mind of a composer, and that's the composer's mind is a real
Mhm.
strange one, because you'll be walking down the street and you hear a car brake screech and you want to know what key that was in.
Okay. Mhm.
You'll be humming something, a tune.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, and you can run to your software and type it in, either write it in as like I never showed that. You can actually draw it in and play it back to see what it sounds like from just notes, physical notes, and then add
Mm-hmm.
lyrics to it, and then make the lyrics uh, presentable to be able to sound like someone is actually singing.
Wow.
My cousin's wife wrote a book. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
latest songs that I did, and I saw her the title of her book. It was From My Morning MOURNING to My Morning MORNING. And I wrote that song. I wrote a song for that book to help her push it into the air one day, really, well, 24 hours. I started writing it that night,
Mm-hmm.
and then I added the music to it the next day, and then I put it on. It was on Facebook, and I put it on YouTube. And the
Mm-hmm.
very first day, it got 500 views in the first 10 minutes.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, a question. What software do you recommend for beginners?
For creating music or for
Mhm.
doing this type of creating virtual singers, I put it like that.
Probably the virtual singers.
There are
He said both. And then she says both.
it depends upon your pocketbook, as they say. How much do you want to invest in it?
Mm,
It's a more time consumer, because it means you have to stop doing something in your life to dedicate to getting an understanding how to load the software, and once it comes up, what you're presented with. Because I've been
mm,
doing this for decades now, but usually for literally decades. it was
mm,
it was easy for me. It's like, okay, a new software. This, pop that in, pop this in, and then I would go to
mm,
other sites, watching other people use it, and go back to what. Oh, okay, that's how you do that, versus reading a manual, because the manual does come with it. I never read the manual because I want to jump
mm,
in
okay.
and begin to see how
Mm,
I can tailor it for how I want to be able to use it. Then I go back and I
mm,
see someone else do it, and I go, I should have read the manual because I wouldn't be struggling with trying to get two words to sound like one.
mhm,
Like, I was cutting up words trying to make them sound like one. We would actually just put in one word, skip, and put in a plus sign, which means split the verb, and it sounded a lot better that way. That's when I said, you know what,
mm,
back up, look at someone else that's actually using the software. And what I did was, on my YouTube channel, day one of using the software, I started documenting how to do it. So I have a real time um, day one use of the software that I have on my channel for someone who
mm,
might want to investigate and see whether or not they want to be able to do this. Now, the name of the software is called Dream Tonic Synthesizer V Pro 2. You can actually go to their site and download the free version for trial, the full
all
version for
right.
trial,
Oh,
for
really?
14 days, just to see if it's something that you're interested in doing.
Mm,
And then if you want to invest in it, it's, for me, it was very inexpensive, because I started buying it when I first saw it, and then I caught some deals on some of the
right.
actual voices. But you really only need uh, the software, which I think is $99 one price. Some sites make you pay $20 a month to subscribe.
Mhm.
This
Oh,
program
okay.
you buy, that stays on your computer, and it's
Mhm.
yours. You don't have to pay anything more for it unless you want to do an
Right.
upgrade.
Mhm.
But
Well,
you can.
do
I'm
you
sorry.
see other churches starting to use AI? Do you see churches using it?
Well, I
And
watch YouTube and Facebook all the time to hear what's happening musically. Again, not
yeah.
to critique, but to be able to get a picture of what what more can I add to my site in training musicians. And
Mhm.
when I hear the type of songs that they're doing, they're all doing the same songs, four chords, and somebody singing in the microphone, and everybody behind them repeating what they're saying. And
Right.
I say, well, only because there's no musician there who wants to go beyond the next
Mm,
song, which just starts the four chords in a different pitch. Either they
mhm.
start on the four, they start on the six, or they start on the one. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. But now, again, I always have this disclaimer whenever I talk this way. These songs are getting views that I've never seen before on YouTube, where they'll do those songs and they get 53 million views. So who am I to say it's not appropriate for them to
Mhm.
push that song in their local ministry? But I often look into the pews when they do pan the camera, and I don't
Yeah.
see enough people my age there that can appreciate it. So
Okay.
I'm always conscious for the baby
Mhm.
boom. I'm the end of the baby boom. I think I'll be 70 next year, and I'm still
Mhm.
learning music. But I remember the music that I played to help those who were older than me. So when I look
Mhm.
back and I go, well, gee, now I'm in that realm of the old person. Can I get with just the four chords and the person with the microphone and the praise team set up? And every time I look, I go, nope. I want to
Yeah.
hear a melody. I want to hear a chorus.
Mhm.
I want to hear a bridge. I want to hear, this is what I want to hear so I can get
Right.
into the song
Right.
versus a chorus repeated 50 times.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Now, that's just
That's
how
me.
you feel, right? Yeah,
That's
and
me.
there's nothing wrong with that. Now, how in your thoughts, how has music changed over the decades? How do you think music has changed over the decades?
We've took the easy route. Um,
Mhm.
again, I'm from the era of James Cleveland, when my father played that type of music, morphed into the Hawkins, morphed into the Crouch, morphed into the Keith Pringle, morphed into the Thomas
Mhm.
Whitfield, morphed into the Kirk Franklin. In my
Mhm.
area, the late Reverend Timothy Wright was a friend of mine, so I learned
Oh,
music,
okay.
his
Yeah.
music with him as he would travel around, and I actually was his musician when he was over the New York jurisdictional choir. I was the musician
Mhm.
during that time, so I
Okay.
got to hear the early stages of a lot of these musicians that were, even Jeffrey LaValle's song,
Yeah.
Revelation 19. It wasn't big back then when it came out.
No, no, it
It
wasn't.
was, 'cause I was playing it and I'm like, why won't these folks sing this song? This song is beautiful in a way, but they
It's
wouldn't sing
beautiful.
it.
Yeah. Right.
It took a rap artist doing gospel to really
To
give
bring it
the
back.
actual what was due to that song. I was there when
Mhm.
Total Praise came out. The choir singers there, sopranos couldn't hit that F over a middle C. They couldn't hit that. They
Yeah.
couldn't hit that note. Had to lower the
Mhm.
key.
Yeah. Wow.
But so I heard the changeover. I can't leave out Richard Smallwood, because when I was first
Yeah.
introduced to his music, I'm like, what? A piano player in the church playing like this?
Classical.
Classical
Yeah.
gospel. So now I had
Mhm.
to throw out all my big band gospel sound and figure out, what is he doing. Oh,
Mhm.
minors and diminished, and every song had
Yeah.
minors and diminished. Oh,
Yeah.
this is classical music. Once I
Yeah.
accepted that, now I
Mhm.
began to morph that classical sound into what I was doing with the big band gospel sound of the
Mhm.
testimony service. So
Mhm.
to hear where we are now, and again, I scan churches every Sunday because I want to hear, what are they doing? Is there
Right.
a path that they're on? Because
Mhm.
I actually joined the Gospel Music Association back in the 80s. I went to Nashville,
Mhm.
Tennessee to one of their conventions where they
Mhm.
were spotlighting the new changeover of CCM music. And what
Oh
I
yeah.
saw was rockers singing
Mhm.
about Jesus. And I'm like, and I mean, they're dressed in long hair, cut
Mhm.
cut jeans, singing Jesus. And I was like, wait a minute, is this where music is going? And then I saw when they told us, well, this is where the A&R people, or the artists and repertoire, and the legal people, and they would tell you, if you come here thinking we're going to think you're going to replace who we already have on our roster, no.
Mhm.
But we tell you, go back to where you're home, stir up the dust where you are, and we'll hear
Yeah.
about you. Which means
Mhm.
if your music that you're doing back in your town or your city is giving competition to the artists they have, they'll come see what it
Mhm.
is that you're doing. Those are the grassroots of Hezekiah Walker, who had a singing group that expanded into where he is now. I saw,
Yeah.
again, my choir members would go to his choir rehearsal and not come to mine. I couldn't understand that. How you going to his rehearsal and yet you don't come to my rehearsal here in the local church?
Mhm.
But there was an exciting thing for them to see a movement.
Yes.
James Hall, I saw the movement. Okay, well, he had classical singers from Juilliard, so you can't compete against that.
No, sure can.
But
Mhm.
when I think the today's music, or to look at it from the quote unquote black church perspective,
Yeah.
we want it easy. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, again, those songs are drawing from a different culture,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
said, well, we can do gospel too. We can make it inspirational. We can sing about him and deity, and
Yeah.
every now and then we can throw in the word Jesus.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You're not going to hear, was it, what are the songs that I used to always hear? Down at the Cross being turned into a CCM song. Now, if I had to do it, I could, because I understand
Really.
the nature of it. Just
Mm-hmm.
change the melody, but just put those chords in it.
Mm-hmm.
And some songs they did go into the hymns and cross over to, I think, to appease some
Mm-hmm.
people. But for
Right.
the nature of the song, I have just to digress a bit, on my YouTube channel, I help musicians learn songs they have trouble with in the different
Yeah.
keys. And
Yeah.
sometimes they'll ask for songs from Elevation Worship or from Maverick City. And I'll listen
Right.
to it and I go, it's four chords. You're having trouble understanding four chords? And I would challenge them.
Yeah.
What are you not hearing that you have to ask me to help you break down four chords in a song?
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
trying to do "In the Sanctuary" by Kurt Carr with that intro.
Right.
I learned the intro just like the album, da 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 da. But nobody
Yeah.
would ever play the intro when I heard them play it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's true.
that's the work of
Mm-hmm.
musicians of my era.
Yeah.
Today, it's layered sounds,
Yeah, it's a lot
strings,
of instrumentation too.
big drums, the bass player rocking
Mm-hmm.
the bottom, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you got enough microphones up there so the singers can be heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but things definitely have changed. Because I know a lot of times musicians have a hard time hearing, even hearing the vocals because there's so much instrumentation that they've added to it. Where do you see technology 5 years from now? Where do you see technology 5 years from now?
It's here now. When you can go to a site and tell it, create for me a gospel song, say Jesus every now and then, and it'll create the entire song with the singer, the background, and all the instrumentation, and all you do is type in a prompt, and then
Mm,
you go and you upload that as a new song. Again,
wow.
I watch everything on the internet, especially from the music community that is not
Yeah.
church, and they're
Mm-hmm.
fighting that fact that the systems that do this are being trained on their music.
Yeah.
What I'm
Mm,
not hearing is gospel.
mm,
I'm hearing them complaining about every other genre of music, but no one is
mm-hmm.
complaining about the gospel of today. Now, the gospel of yesterday, that music has already
Mm-hmm.
been put on the shelf. We will pull that
Right.
out in February,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll play our music the next Sunday in February that we want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And gospel has pretty much been, like, I think I had someone make a comment on my channel. Nobody's playing that old timey music. Get with the current times. And I gave him a very nice rebuke.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost went as far as say, well, your mama probably had you all during gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to say, you know what? Let me just stop.
Right.
But just to make the statement that, well, the music that built churches is no longer applicable, that built congregations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, with all that has been happening in our society and
Mm-hmm.
how freedom of
Mm-hmm.
choice has limited the quality of the music that used to
Mm-hmm.
be. I just want to leave on record before it's time for me to go that there was a sound that filled the churches where people would
Yeah.
actually leave their church service to come here in a
Yeah.
Pentecostal church to hear a testimony service and hear people sing and be very joyous in it.
Mm-hmm.
You could get with it. The one
Mm-hmm.
thing about Reverend Timothy Wright that I always say about his music, everybody could sing it.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Nowadays, you need a lead singer that's willing to get on their knees and dressed in ripped jeans and a ripped shirt and tattooed up. And I look
Mm-hmm.
at it and I go, okay,
Yeah. But
I've been
that's
watching
crazy
this.
though. Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
true.
remember when on Sunday morning, come and play in Timberland boots and jeans and a t-shirt and a hat backwards on Sunday morning. I'm like, I said, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Who was watching the gate and walked away from the gate? Now,
Right.
again, I don't throw shade, because if that is convicting people to want to know more about God, and the preacher gives up and has now got a willing heart to preach to, because the music has opened up that door for the preach word to come through, who am I to
Yeah.
say, hey, back in my day, the pastor
Mm-hmm.
told us, I don't want to see you walking around without a suit jacket on around these women.
Mm-hmm.
What would he be
Right.
saying today?
Right.
But
Yeah.
again,
It's
different
true.
eras, different genres, different cultures. 5
Mm-hmm.
years, um, it's all going to be AI, I think.
Oh, you think
People are going to
so?
they're going to have, preachers going to be able to look at a device and say, I want a hymn song to my song, and have it created right there for them. And he won't need singers or musicians,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where it is right now.
Right.
It actually writes the words, lead, background, all the instrumentation, just by typing in a prompt.
Wow. So 5 years, you think it'll be all AI instrumentation? You think vocals and instrumentation as well?
Yes, it's already there.
Wow.
It's there right now.
Mhm.
There are, every day I get on YouTube, I get prompts, because I search for this. I want to know what's happening in the industry, so I can talk to it, to people, or
Mhm.
to musicians who are thinking
About
that
it. Yeah.
they're safe. And I
Yeah.
often tell them, say, you're only as safe as technology will allow you to be. Again, I used to work for IBM at 17 years old. We signed
Mhm.
a non-disclosure agreement. Anything we saw in research labs, we would not talk about. And there was
Mm.
stuff there they had on the shelf that they could not release yet, because people would lose their jobs. But it
Mhm.
was on the shelf, it was already designed, already working, but they couldn't release it,
Wow.
because you can't have people losing their jobs because you put something out there that's going to take over what people are doing. I
Right.
used to work on typewriters. You have typing pools of 300 people,
Mhm.
women typing in a typing pool, and men in a typing pool. They had devices already that, if they would have announced it,
That's
would
how,
have
yeah.
wiped out the typing pool. The copier
Wow.
did that. We don't need
Mhm.
people to replicate a page. We just put it in a
Mhm.
machine and spit out 1,000 copies.
Yeah.
Networking made it possible to send work from one country to the next country. So we don't need to have
Mhm.
someone to carry it over there. We don't need to have to
Mhm.
mail it. We don't need to even have to print it. We'll send it there and let them print it over there around the world. I worked
Right.
on that equipment, but when it was being talked about, I couldn't say nothing.
Right. Wow. So, what's your advice as we close? What's your advice to musicians? What should they be doing now?
They should have their eyes and their ears open to where technology is today, and then look at their
Mhm.
local churches, or in fact, some, I think they have local church musicians. Everybody's gigging here and there, so,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
look at either preparing yourself for what might happen, or
Mhm.
being more involved with it, where you might say, okay, maybe I need to spend more time learning how to create songs, so that I can create a revenue source from it. The one thing that I'm enjoying about being on YouTube is I get to see everybody being creative in whatever way that they're doing it.
That's
And
it.
sometimes I
Right.
have to shake my head and go, why didn't I think of doing that? I mean, people
Mhm.
making millions of dollars creating content with music. And in our case, I actually started doing that. I had Chat GPT create for me avatars that look like anime characters that I want to be
Yeah.
able to write songs to, because I saw the sites that are getting hundreds of thousands of views with people looking at a cartoon figure and with
Mhm.
music in the background. It's not
Really?
gospel, but music is music.
Right. Mhm. Oh my
And
goodness.
what it creates is a source of revenue, so
Mhm.
that if one well begins to dry up, you better be digging,
Mhm.
or researching where those next wells are going to be. I think, and I hate to use the word COVID-19, but COVID-19, I think, was a wake-up call for every church and every musician,
That's
that if
right.
it shuts down, what are you going to do? What could you be? What are you going to lose?
Mhm.
Fortunately, I was already retired, so when it happened, I just watched the
Mhm.
sheer panic from the
Mhm.
musician community.
Yeah, because there was a lot of panic. You're right.
And I always, this is the one pet peeve I have. None of the prophets saw it.
Hmm. Well, if they
No
saw it, they
warning.
didn't tell us. Right.
So I
Wow.
try to present, every time I have a conversation, especially when I'm on live or if I'm on doing a video, to let people know I'm this old and I'm still keeping up. I'm still behind in some
Still
situations
relevant.
because I'm doing
Yeah.
gospel where
Yeah.
no one else wants to touch gospel. And you say the AI. Do I hear anybody else doing AI? What I'm doing in their churches? No, no one. So I don't mind being the pioneer once again,
Yeah.
because when you could, and I always keep it handy in case I get a request, when you can open up this book
Hmm.
and someone says, well, page, let me see, I'll just throw it to page 478 or number 148. What a mighty God we serve. What
Hmm.
key is it in? And how do those notes sound that they're singing? I can
Hmm.
create an actual AI singing of the
To
exact
sing
notes
to
on this page. Let me see if I can get that to pop up there.
it.
There we go. All right. Light's too bright.
It's too bright. Yeah.
And it'll sound like the key it's in. It'll sound like the lyrics that are there. And then I could now also, the second time around, put a different feel to it.
Really.
And I've actually, what did I do that with? Well, you heard the lift every
Yeah.
voice and sing. I
Hmm.
did that first, exactly the notes in the hymn book. And then the second two times, I added my own touch, a little bit here. I put a lead singer
Hmm.
and brought it in the background. Then I did the third line, like if though I wrote it.
Hmm. Wow. Do you ever add horns or anything or strings to make it sound orchestral? You know,
Uh,
like it's an
Not yet.
orchestra playing or just a brass
Not yet.
instrument.
I did that a
Okay.
lot when I was doing MIDI. I would give all
Yeah.
that. I said, you know what? It was too busy for a church service. I think
Yeah.
if and again, because I'm always thinking, this is how I was trained working in IBM.
Hmm.
You always think 5 to 10 years ahead.
Hmm.
What do you want to be doing? Not what could you be, what do you want to be doing? And does technology
Hmm.
allow you to do that? I can go back over any of the files which I've created, readjust them, change the key if at every key I want to, and add instrumentation around it at will.
Yeah.
And because I have so much software downloaded, along with a keyboard that's got 2,000 different sounds in it, I can make
Hmm.
it sound like any song I want to,
Right.
and
Right.
then present that in the YouTube platform. Again, I'm staying with gospel,
Yeah.
but I'm reminded of the scripture that when Jesus came across the fisherman who was fishing on one side of the boat and they didn't catch anything, he didn't
Hmm.
tell them to stop fishing. He says, pull your nets up and put it on the other side of the boat. So
Hmm.
musically, I'm looking at the other side that's getting all those views for 4 chord songs. I actually wrote a 4 chord song, and I used the scripture, trust in the Lord in all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct thy path. Wrote a song on
Yeah.
4 chords off that scripture, placed it on my YouTube, copyrighted it. Of course, the copyright people said, but that's scripture, you can't use that.
Right.
I said, okay. I didn't know the scriptures were copyrighted. They are.
Really.
I got that's one of the songs I put for to be copyrighted, and because they wrote me back. This is
Hmm.
Bible. So you can't copyright words from the Bible. I said, all right,
Yeah.
then, but I can't
Yeah.
copyright the music. Oh yeah, so I did just the music,
But you did right. Mm.
and I hired a
That's
singer
interesting.
online from Canada
Hmm.
to sing it because I didn't have my own singer.
Hmm.
But now I could take that same patch file I did, use that
Hmm.
singer that I still have, and I can add now soprano and alto background to them. I just had them sing the note because I
Okay.
just wanted to, and I did a whole YouTube series
Hmm.
on how easy it is to write a song, 4 chords
Hmm.
using scripture, and not just having someone with a microphone. In fact, can I air that? Trying to remember, it's on my YouTube channel.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't want to take up too much time because
Hmm.
when I start looking at what musicians are not doing, and I always try to put up an alarm that says, guys or gals, you're not tied to waiting for the next album to drop. It's in you. If you've
Yes,
learned all this music,
I
it's
do.
in there. Let it out. And if you don't know how, ask me or look at the videos that I've created that show you
Mhm.
how quickly you can now
Right.
become again, I'm not
Mhm.
a singer, but I can
Mhm.
hear notes. I know what it should sound like. Now
Right.
with the AI
It's
vocal virtual singing
mhm.
software, I can say, yes, that's how I want it to sound.
Mhm. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to close on tonight, but I want you to share your YouTube page, how they can reach you and start watching all your videos. And how many videos do you have on YouTube?
I think 3,000. Let me just, I can pull it up and look at it right now. Give you a direct count.
Mhm.
3,050, I believe, because I'm
Wow.
adding generally uh, 30 videos a month.
Mhm.
But just as it says, Sam Tolbert at Sound of Joy, if you type in that Sound of Joy in YouTube, my page will pop up.
Yeah.
3,035 videos right now.
3,035 videos.
3,035. And they were all gospel related. Now, I threw a couple of
Yeah.
R&B trinkets
Sure.
in it because I'm trying to
Mhm.
draw eyeballs into the actual gospel
Right.
realm.
Mhm.
But
Right.
for the most part, 99.9% of it is the traditional gospel. But I also went a little further. In fact, I actually got contacted by a law firm that wanted to shut down my YouTube channel because in 2008, I played the song "I Love You, Lord" today so well that they thought I was infringing on their copyright, and they wanted to shut my channel down. I said, "Wait a minute,
Really? Oh
come on,
no.
2008, come
I
on."
know.
YouTube
Wow.
was
Oh
just
my
getting
goodness.
started then. Now, why you want to shut me down? But I found I wasn't the
Right.
only one, though. They went after everybody that
Oh,
had that
yeah.
song because
Wow.
what they did is someone bought the rights to the song, a legal
Mhm.
company, because everybody's singing it. So of course, it's all about the dollar. It's all
Right.
about the dollar. So they
So
were
someone
trying to.
has a statement here. When are you opening your school? And they said the world. She also says the world needs his genius.
I've been on YouTube since 2006, presenting
That's your school,
everything that I
basically.
actually do. That's my
Yeah.
school. This way, it's free. Everything I do on
Yep.
YouTube is free.
Mm-hmm.
Although I am monetized now. Again, it took me when they were monetizing people, I kept applying. Why won't you monetize me? And when they finally monetized me, I said, finally. But then I watched so
Really?
many other people doing the exact same thing I'm doing get monetized. And I'm going, well, what did I do wrong? Maybe it was the
Right.
music I had on it. But
Mm-hmm.
I get, as people view the videos I have, I get advertisers, and the advertisers bid for how much they want to contribute to my page to be able to show their ad selling soap or selling keyboards or whatever.
Right.
So
Wow.
that makes me able to have people ask me what I call viewer requests. They can request a song, and normally I would charge them my normal fee. If they would have asked me personally to do it, I'd do it for
Mm-hmm.
free because they viewed my
Wow.
channel and actually supported
Yes.
me just by viewing it. So I'll
Wow.
give them an 8 to 10 minute synopsis of this is the song, these are the
Yeah.
chords. Now go back and apply this to the song and teach yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Oh my
what is the scripture?
goodness.
If you feed a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
A
I'm about
lifetime.
teaching.
Yeah, you are. You really are. Your videos are amazing. They really are. You've set a high standard, and I thank God for you because I watch a lot of your videos, and when it was interesting to me when you were talking about AI, and and I got to hear what you were creating and how you had created it, and I thought it was quite interesting. But I want to thank you so much for your time. With you, I need to do a part two because you have so much to offer and so much to share. And I had no idea 3,000 videos. That's amazing. They should have been asking for advertisement anytime you see that many videos. How many videos had you done when they asked you, when they were coming after you, different advertisers were coming after you?
Well, I think I finally got monetized in 2020, which means I had already been on there since 2006. So I already had what,
Oh,
2006,
about 2000?
2020. Yeah, 2020. I was started in 2000. I'm looking at it. 2000 September 2006 is when I started the channel.
Mm-hmm.
2020 they finally monetized me. So that's 14 years. I was just placing videos there. People were viewing it. In fact, there were some videos that they were running ads on because I would go to the video. They wouldn't give it to me, but they were collecting on the video. And one of them was I Won't Complain. I just put it there to hear to show people how it should sound in the church with an organ patch and a piano patch. And they put a copyright claim on it. And I said, okay, of course I didn't have permission to do the song. I just put it out there for musicians to learn how to play the song, but they were running ads on it. So they were getting so I pulled it off the channel. I said, that's one of my highest viewed videos, and you're getting whatever, and you're not sharing anything with me. So I pulled it off.
Wow.
But that doesn't mean that I can't recreate it again.
Yeah, right.
But,
well, I want to thank you so much tonight, Sam, for being here.
Thank you for opening up an actual invitation. As you can hear from me, I never get to talk about it unless I'm on my own channel.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to bringing you back on again with back on Real Talk. And I know right now I don't have as many videos as you are, but I'm striving. I started during 2020, so this is my 5th year, and I thank God for what He has done and the different people that He's allowed me to meet. And by seeing you on Facebook with your songs and what you were creating, it allowed me to be able to follow you. So that's always a good thing. And thank God for your ministry. I pray God's blessings to be upon you. And I also want to thank everyone that's watching and those that will watch the replay. I want to thank you so much, and continue to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Cindy Barber TV. I really thank you for those that have done it, and I want you to add and let other people know to really subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I know eventually Facebook is going to be omitting our videos after 30 days, they told us. I've been getting emails about it, so I probably will only be coming on just on YouTube. But I, thank God for this platform as well, StreamYard. I thank them. So thank you all for watching on tonight, and I will be on next week, and I will be on the following week. So please join my Real Talk with Cindy. I'm doing too many things. Real Talk with Cindy, and I look forward to seeing everyone on next Monday. Good night, Sam, and thank you so much for being a part. And I hope to see you again real soon. You're welcome.
God bless.
Thank you so very much for tuning in to Real Talk with Cindy Barber. We hope you have been informed and inspired by the conversation on this evening. You can contact Cindy Barber on Instagram at CindyRBarber04. You can email her at ms.cindybarber@gmail.com or the YouTube channel at Cindy R. Barber. You can also contact Cindy about having your event advertised on Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Cindy looks forward to you joining her next week for another informative conversation right here on Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Until then, have a great evening.